that were being submitted, and the top rated records would move to the top of the leaderboard, where artists were ultimately getting signed directly off of our leaderboards because it meant that a radio audience was validating their music. This was an alternative way or an alternative data point for labels to sign artists, because before, labels were only focused on artists that had a certain number of streams and a certain number following. When we launched the Who's Next platform by Hot 97 in 2016, we focused on, hey, do you have good music? Do you have a single? And can you penetrate a radio audience? And if you were the top 10 on that leaderboard, 9 times out of 10 meant that you were an artist that was radio viable, which made you very valuable to a label. However, since we took that model and it worked really, really well, and we did it with Hot 107.9, 97.9 Houston, we did the World Star Heat Seekers contest, we did a multitude of these different contests. What we quickly realized was that a lot of artists were being signed off by top 10 leaderboards. However, they weren't getting the best possible deals because labels were still technically penalizing them for not having the followers and not having the streams. Since we have a direct relationship with the labels, especially now, and we get a kickback off of every artist that's signed off of our platform, we now actually invest in singles before we bring them to the label, because we know what a label will be looking for. They're looking for those streams to be jumping 10% month over month. They're looking for those followers to also be growing 50% month over month. And the only way for us to showcase those type of numbers before we bring you to a label is for us to invest some type of funds into a single that we believe in before we actually bring you into the door with a label. So what we were doing, we were reviewing your music, where I was going to listen to your records and see if you had a single. And if you had a single, I would then invest anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 into your record in the form of a grant, which is something that you do not have to pay back. All it is that you are agreeing that you will utilize those funds for its intended use, which is the marketing of the single. The reason that it has to be used for the marketing of the single is because, once again, we will also be pushing you to the network of labels that we work with, which are all the major labels, where we do get a kickback if we can get you a deal that makes sense. So, with that being said, given the fact that we were just kind of jumped into things, please upload your single if you have not already. Please upload your single if you have not already. This should be the single that you feel like you would put $10,000 to $20,000 of your own money into. Give me a record that you personally feel like you would put $10,000 to $20,000 of your own money into. I will play it, and if I hear something that I like, I will then invest anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 from the Atlantic Artist Fund, which you went through. So go ahead and please submit on this link if you have not already, and I'm going to go back to the record.